Justin Ruby here to tell you who I think the most deserving Super Smash Bros. Ultimate newcomers are. Who says 60 plus fighters is enough? Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is going to be one hell of a game, considering it will include over 65 playable characters, depending on how you count them. Bringing back every past fighter and injecting some new ones is already a monumental task. That said, we all know that nothing will satisfy the cravings of Super Smash Bros. Fans. More characters will undoubtedly be added to the game, even if only through DLC. That's why I've come up with this list of my personal top characters that I want to see playable in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Stumpy. Who's Stumpy? Stumpy is an often forgotten Nintendo mascot that has only made game appearances in online Flash titles. That's because Stumpy is the official mascot for the now-defunct Camp Hyrule events that Nintendo used to run yearly as part of the Loud House and later Insider official online communities. Stumpy was actually never intended to be a real mascot, but was a stubby-looking horse in the background of some chat room art during Camp Hyrule events. Campers named him Stumpy, and he then later became an official mascot. Nintendo online communities were very special to me, and I'm the only known person to attend every Camp Hyrule event that took place. I'd love for this strange quarter of Nintendo history to be honored with a Stumpy, playable character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But even I understand how unlikely that is. Urban Champion. The combatants from this first fighting game on NES should be given the honor of joining Nintendo's popular mascot fighting game series. Sure, Urban Champion as a game doesn't hold up, but that doesn't stop Nintendo from constantly reminding fans of its existence. Black Shadow. Since the start of the Super Smash Bros. Series, Captain Falcon has been a fan favorite, but it's time that the F-Zero legend gets a rival to go up against, and who's better to fill that role than Black Shadow? You may be wondering what kind of moves Black Shadow would have, but I'd leave that up to Sakurai himself. I mean, he did give a crazy one to Captain Falcon. King Hippo. You'll probably start to notice a common theme with my list, and that is antagonists. Little Mac needs a Super Smash Bros. Foe, and King Hippo fills that role better than almost anyone else. Despite only appearing in 2 different Punch-Out games, and never being the final boss, King Hippo has remained one of the most memorable World Video Boxing Association villains. Maybe his appearance in the old Captain N TV series helps cement his legacy. Regardless, send this man from Hippo Island a smash invite. Mike Jones. Mike Jones is the hero from the Star Tropic series of games on the NES. While this character might not be well remembered, I think he deserves to be added to Smash. One reason I feel this way is because even though both Star Tropic games were developed internally by Nintendo, they were never released in Japan. I'm sure many Japanese gamers would just be confused about this character, and that's what I want. A small amount of revenge for when Melee released with Fire Emblem characters, and at that time, not one game in the series had come to the West. Medusa. The main antagonist of Kid Icarus on NES, and has appeared in Sakurai's Kid Icarus Uprising on the Nintendo 3DS. Medusa looks really menacing, and she would fit right along with Pit and Palutena. Come on, Sakurai, give us more villains, and this is one you've already worked with. Sook Upon. Sook Upon is a robot and the main character of the late Famicom NES fighting game Joy Mecha Fight. While this game never found its way to the West, I think it would be great to honor this early Nintendo fighting mascot much like the previously mentioned Urban Champion. Sadly, the odds aren't looking good for Sook Upon, as he has already been spotted as an assist trophy in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate E3 demo. Springman. The main mascot for ARM should spring into action. While I've heard many people say Ribbon Girl would be the better fit as an ARMS representative, I'm going to have to disagree. Why? Springman seems to be more important solely because the developers went out of their way to create an alternate version of the character known as Springtron, which could make a cool Smash variant color scheme for Springman himself. If Springman gets added to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I may wind up rooting for Ribbon Girl too. Octoling. Now that the Splatoon 2 Octo expansion is out, I'm going to have to root for the Octolings to be added to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as an Echo Fighter. This shouldn't be too hard to pull off, as it could be quite easy to give this character different versions of the same weapon types to give them slightly different effects to differentiate them from the Inklings. Octolings are better than Inklings anyway. Meowth. Yeah, a lot of you are tired of first-generation Pokemon being overrepresented in Smash Bros., but I don't care. Meowth has been a staple of the franchise since the start and is a major character in the Pokemon anime. Sadly, Meowth has been spotted coming out of a Pokeball in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate E3 demo, so his odds of making the cut are slim. Ninevolt. If the WarioWare series needs another representative besides Wario, I think Ninevolt is the character to pick. Sure, there are a lot of solid and wacky other choices, but Ninevolt is one of the biggest Nintendo fans ever, and his collection includes every piece of Nintendo hardware and software ever made. You know I'm jealous. Who knows what this kid could pull out to cause damage to his opponents? Super Scope, NES Zapper, or maybe even a Cheery Tori? Combine all of that with his wicked skateboard, and you've got a Smash Bros. Character destined for greatness. Balloon Fighter. Supposedly considered for Melee before Sakurai decided on the Ice Climbers as the NES representative, Balloon Fighter should make his debut in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. One of Iwata's most known early games is Balloon Fight, and adding the character to the roster would be a great way to honor his legacy. Waluigi. As the entire internet knows by now, Waluigi has been seen as an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That said, as someone who's supported the stupidity that is Waluigi from the beginning, I'd love to see him playable in Super Smash Bros. He could use his different sports equipment as attacks, maybe even throw a Mario Kart tire or a Waluigi pinball. His final smash would have to incorporate his trademark rose though. While it isn't likely, I'm rooting for the guy. Dixie Kong. Dixie Kong has been one of the main protagonists of the Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Land games, and even was the star in the third entry of both series. Dixie wouldn't be an Echo Fighter, as her hair would provide several ways to attack opponents, and to pick up items. Besides all that, I'm sure the two lovebirds, Dixie and Diddy, would want to be reunited on the battlefield of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Rex and Aegis. Rex and the Aegis, Pyra and Mythra, should come in as another representative of the Xenoblade Chronicles series. Shulk shouldn't have all the fun. This character could be implemented in several ways, and the thought of this has me excited to see what Sakurai would do. For instance, would Rex fight while Pyra or Mythra stay in the background like Pokemon Trainer? Or would they follow Rex around, similar to Nana does to Popo in the Ice Climber duo? Additionally, would Sakurai let players switch blades between Pyra and Mythra, like in the game, giving the player different attacks? Anything is possible, but I'm sure Rex's anchor shot would be implemented in some way. Ganon. Back in my day, we grew up with the main villain of Zelda being Ganon, not Ganondorf. Because of this, I'd like the pig version of Ganon to be playable in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Give him a trident for crazy range and let the beast stomp around the stage in anger. Allow him to float a bit as a recovery tool. It truly shocks me more fans haven't requested this version of Ganon as a playable fighter in the Super Smash Bros. Series, because he has such a strong presence in Zelda history and should easily be represented in a game that celebrates Nintendo history. Mr. Jack. Speaking of celebrating Nintendo history, here is Mr. Jack. Who is Mr. Jack? He appeared in Nintendo's 1979 arcade game Sheriff, and he, along with the damsel Betty, are likely the first two Nintendo characters ever to exist. If Mr. Jack were to be added to the game, he'd be the oldest playable character in the Super Smash Bros. Series, predating both Pac-Man and Mr. Game & Watch by about a year. If added to Smash Bros., I'd hope Mr. Jack would be based on the Sheriff arcade cabinet art that was designed by Shigeru Miyamoto himself. Sadly, the odds for this very well-deserving character appearing as a playable character are slim, as the sprite-based Sheriff Assist trophy has been spotted in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate E3 demo. But that won't stop me from hoping that this unsung hero gets added to the ultimate showdown between Nintendo characters. So what did you think of this list? Was there anyone you were hoping made the cut but didn't? Let us know in the comments section below.